I am happy to introduce Lauren Gonzalez. She is one of the key organizers for the Southwest Environmental Alliance. She was the one who actually helped organize that protest that I helped cover last week in regards to shutting down the matte asphalt plant. So, Lauren, for our viewers and subscribers, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization, Southwest Environmental Alliance?
Yeah, of course. And thank you so much for having me on here, Kit. So yes, like Kit mentioned, my name is Lauren Gonzalez. I'm a member of the Southwest Environmental Alliance, and we are residents from McKinley Park, Pilsen, Little Village, Back of the Yards, and beyond. And the reason we got together is that research has shown that our neighborhoods, which happen to be Latino majority neighborhoods, have some of the greatest exposures to pollution in the city of Chicago. And so we're all committed to fighting this environmental racism, and just to call it what it is, through direct action to hold polluters and public officials to account.
Now, I think it's important for our viewers to understand, because we've been covering this on Hardlands Media, especially in the early days of our radio and television careers. And, you know, not a lot of traction was going on. We didn't have the audience that we have now. So I think it's important for our viewers to understand what exactly is the matte asphalt plant. I mean, what's its whole history? I mean, 2 years ago, it showed up out of the blue and it's still operating without a permit. What's going on? Okay. We're going to try and see if we can get her back on very soon. We do apologize for that inconvenience. But again, just so everyone is very well aware that the matte asphalt plant is, again, that it is an industrial facility that is basically, you know, working without a permit. And again, there's a lot of heavy truck traffic going on there. So when we covered the protest for the shutdown of the matte asphalt plant, this was a 50-car convoy that basically shut it down for 1 whole hour. And the thing is, a lot of organizations and groups have been doing a lot of outreach to state of Illinois officials, Cook County officials, Chicago officials in regards to getting rid of this plant. So I think we're about to return her back on. So I'm going to repeat my former question. Lauren, thank you so much again. We glad to have you back on. I think it's important for our viewers to understand really what is matte asphalt plant, since you have been leading a lot of groups against it.
Sure, so I can give you some background. So during the springtime of 2018, the McKinley Park neighborhood was shocked to see huge silos go up without any sort of heads up to the community. And matte asphalt officially opened their doors in July of 2018. And this was really concerning because McKinley Park is considered an environmental justice neighborhood. And under the Illinois EPA's environmental justice policy, that should ensure public engagement protections. But still, we were completely left in the dark. And little did we know at the time that Alderman Cardenas of the 12th Ward, which is where McKinley Park is, had known about the plant a year prior and had given it his blessing. And part of the disbelief and the anger that the community was feeling was because Alderman Cardenas is the chair of the Health and Environmental Protection Committee. And so he's supposed to prioritize our health. But instead he was selling us out and was very quietly making sure that the owners of the plant had what they needed to open their operations. For example, he supported the rezoning of a residential land that was adjacent to the plant, and they needed that in order to get up and running. But then, things made more sense later after finding out that the father of the owner of matte asphalt had made campaign contributions to a Cardenas affiliated PAC. And so bringing that back to now, matte asphalt is operating on an expired license. They're currently looking to renew a 10-year operating permit. And that is just something that our community can absolutely not afford. The Illinois EPA set a community meeting hearing on the renewal in March, but it's been indefinitely postponed due to the pandemic.
Now, I think it's important for us to talk about Alderman Cardenas and his relationship with matte asphalt plant. As you mentioned, that the father of one of the owners of matte asphalt plant has donated money to a PAC that supports Alderman Cardenas of the 12th Ward. What has been his interaction with the community? I mean, has he held any town halls or meetings with the people about the Matt asphalt plant? Because, again, back and forth, there's a large amount of truck traffic going in and out. The facility is basically, you could see it where it's just shooting out plumes of smoke out of its facility. Has he had any kind of community town hall about this?
So he has not, and he hasn't showed up at any of the meetings that have been led by the community. And that's part of the frustration. You know, you would think that he would be on the side of his constituents, but he continues to ignore us. And so we haven't heard from him.
All right. Now, in regards to the Matt asphalt plant, there's been a couple of town halls that we covered where they're saying, oh, no, everything's fine. It's safe. It's clean there. What are some of the reports showing just how polluted the community is in the 12th Ward? Like, what are the real clear dangers for the residents that live in the 12th Ward?
Yeah, so I think what we're especially concerned about is the plant releasing particulate matter into the air, like you had mentioned. They have 200 trucks passing through our neighborhoods carrying asphalt from the plants on a daily basis. And then not to mention, you know, the residents in our community, they're riddled with asthma, heart disease, and cancers, and we need to make sure that they are protected. You know, like also you mentioned, the plant is in proximity to 2 schools. It's next to a park where kids play, and it's no place for an asphalt plant to be. And so, you know, the park is the lungs of our community, and we need to keep it safe. You know, when I was growing up, this park was my sanctuary, but things are very different now. And families have to think twice about, you know, having their kids there.
Now, I actually want to talk to you about action to get things done, to get rid of the Matt asphalt plant. So before the 50-car convoy in which you guys heroically shut down that facility, what other methods did you do to really try and reach out to any leader in the state of Illinois to really help you guys out? I mean, has there been any kind of response from them in regards towards some sort of legislative action or at least some kind of mandate to shut it down? What have you guys did before, at least in regards to before the protest?
So before the protest, I mean, we've been in communications with many political leaders, and they've said that they would join us at the Illinois EPA's community meeting, whenever that may be. And so, yeah, we have a number of them. But we've also been in touch with the Deputy Director of Policy for the Mayor's Office. And the last we heard from her is in March, where she had mentioned that they're soon setting up an environmental equity working group with the goal to create a forum to drive environmental policy change. And then apparently that would include a review of the industrial permitting process. So again, that was in March. We haven't heard anything. And then we also received a letter from Mayor Lightfoot in April saying that, you know, she shares our concerns about the air quality, but didn't specify any concrete next steps.
Okay, so desperate times call for desperate measures. So let's talk about this great operation in which for 1 hour, and I took a lot of, I was pretty happy to see this happen, but for 1 hour you guys shut down that Matt asphalt plant. And I think the look on the, at least the front gatekeeper's face was very priceless. It was something that I'll never forget. What led to you guys working together and actually setting this thing up? What was the final straw that was like, okay, we need to get something done. We need to make our presence heard, and someone's going to have to hear from us. What happened?
Yeah, so I think that, you know, during this crisis, we've all been on the edge of our seat, obviously, for many reasons. But we saw the botched demolition of a former coal plant take place in Little Village, and that which resulted in residential areas being engulfed by a cloud of dust in the middle of a respiratory health crisis. And so that happened. And then we're still waiting for the EPA public hearing and thinking about potentially living with Matt asphalt for another decade. And so with all of that looming over us, we wanted to show both Matt asphalt and the city that we're not going away. And so knowing that Alderman Cardenas is not with us, for the action itself, we shifted our focus to Mayor Lightfoot. We do want her to use her influence to stop the plant from operating during this crisis until the community can have some voice in the process. And then the reason we're targeting her is because while she was campaigning for mayor, she did pledge to do something about the lack of city involvement in the environmental oversight of McKinley Park. But here we are, we're well into her campaign, and we're still stuck with this politically connected polluter that bought their way into the neighborhood. And so right now we're looking at the millions of dollars in contracts that the city has with Matt Asphalt. And so with that, the city does have a responsibility to protect our most vulnerable in this community. And then one last thing, in the context, of COVID-19, now more than ever, we need our lungs to be able to be healthy in order to fight this virus. But, Matt Asphalt still has their doors open. They're still polluting our air. And part of the city's COVID response should be shutting down polluters for the sake of our health, especially when, statistics are showing that Illinois Latinos are now the leading group for COVID cases. And we're also still hearing complaints about asphalt fumes. We recently heard that as a response to the complaints, the plant would be adding a cherry smelling additive to mask the scent. And so it really is unconscionable to think about the hoops that industry will go to harm people without penalty. And then the action itself, like you mentioned, we had a spirited bunch. We had about 50 cars show up. We kept trucks from leaving the plant's parking lot, and we showed the plant that we're not going away.
Yes, and again, it was absolutely incredible. I've been covering the Matt Asphalt plant for almost about 2 years. We have a lot of coverage and videos and audio coverage of this Matt Asphalt plant and what it's done. So I think in regards to the aftermath of the protest, because I saw police writing citations to you guys, I saw that there was a huge police response to all of you, but thankfully it ended peacefully. But what was the aftermath, and did anyone from the state of Illinois, Cook County, City of Chicago respond to you? Did the alderman respond to you? Did Matt Asphalt plant respond to you guys?
At this time, we have not gotten a response from anyone, but that's not to say that we won't keep pushing.
I think it's also important to note, again, adding a cherry flavor to an asphalt facility. I mean, wow. Talk about being desperate, because that's not going to solve anything. It's still releasing particulate matter. It's still going to be dangerous. I don't know what world they're living in. So let's talk about Governor J.B. Pritzker, because there's an interesting campaign photo that he did some time ago when he was running to get the nomination to become the Democratic nominee for the governor's race in 2018. He actually took a photo at the community garden that's by the Matt Asphalt plant. Has there been any response from Governor J.B. Pritzker or anyone within his administration? Because I know that some time ago he was very harsh towards the Illinois EPA and actually fired a few individuals who were incompetent at their jobs. Has he responded, or anyone from his administration responded to you guys?
So neither he or his administration has been in communications with any of our group, but I can't speak to whether or not he's been in contact with any of the other groups.
Right.
For example, Neighbors for Environmental Justice.
Okay, see, now again, that's quite depressing to hear. So let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about pushing forward. What are you guys' next step? Are you going to be holding any kind of meetings or town halls for yourselves? What is your next path forward to really address the Matt Asphalt plant, the danger it proposes to the 12th Ward, and eventually to get it shut down? What are you guys prepared to do?
Yeah, so we have some things in the works. We're definitely going to keep the pressure on Matt Asphalt, and we'll keep folks posted as they're planned. And yeah, I will just say that if you're interested in getting involved, we would love to have you join us. And we meet on a monthly basis.
Well, that's a good thing that you brought up, because I think we have a national audience. A lot of our viewers and subscribers are activists, community organizers. They're people who want to step up and get involved. So where can they go online to find you guys on social media so they can help out and eventually, let's hope, very soon to end the Matt Asphalt plant and get it shut down permanently? So where can they go online to find you guys?
Yeah, so the best place would be on Facebook. You can find us under the Southwest Environmental Alliance. Feel free to shoot us a message and we'll get you involved.
All right, that's a fantastic note to end it on. And otherwise than that, Lauren Gonzalez, please be safe out there, and please keep on pushing forward and fighting the good fight. Obviously, the Mad Asphalt plant is a real threat to everyone. She is one of the main organizers for Southwest Environmental Alliance. We always talk about fighting for a better future, and Lauren Gonzalez and her colleagues are doing that. Check out my full coverage of their protests and shutdown of the Mad Asphalt plant. It was a heroic action that they did, and in these times, we need people to step up, and Lauren Gonzalez and her team and her organizers at Southwest Environmental Alliance are just doing that. Let us all help them out. And I want to thank her again for joining us. Thank you so much, Lauren. And I want to also thank my co-hosts and everyone else who's been joining us here today at Hard Lens Media. My name's Kit Cabello. Peace to you guys, and let us all do what we can to build a better future.